So good morning to all. In this class, we're gonna see about Java constructors. So what do you mean by constructors? So constructor is a special method or function which we are used to set the initial values of the object. So while we are creating the object should have a value of something. Either it could be a zero or null or any particular value. For that purpose, we are using the special method or function that is named as your constructor. So on the whole, constructor is used to initialize the object. So the constructor is called when an object of the class is created. So while we are creating the object, then only our constructor will be invoked. So this is about our constructor. Next, we're gonna say about how do we create a constructor. So this is a syntax for creating constructor. So your first line would be your class construction, class keyword, and your class name. So this is what your constructor creation. Always your constructor should have a name of your class. Say for example, I'm creating a class called student. Then what would be your constructor name? That could be your class name. So student, your constructor name also student. So always your constructor should have a name of your class. So this is what special feature of your constructor, right? So your student, and we have a parenthesis on it. So this is what our syntax to create a constructor. So some rules are there to create a constructor. The first one is constructor name must match with the class name, and also it doesn't have any return type, because your constructor will not return anything. Then your constructor will be called when the object is created. There will be no explicit call for your constructor invocation. And the third one is all the classes have constructor by default. So with or without creating a constructor, your class will be invoked as a default constructor. So these are all the rule for creating constructor. Then we're going to say about our example. So in this program, we are creating the class called student. It has a attribute of roll number, and we have a constructor creation. So this is our constructor creation. So your constructor name should be your class name. So student, empty parenthesis, and within the constructor we are working our initialization. So here I am initializing 5 value to roll number variable. Then in void main function, we are creating the object called my object. So with the help of my object, I am calling my attribute of our class. So my object dot roll number. So in this case, we are creating our my object. So it should be initialized our attribute of our class. So 5 will be assigned to roll number, and in this print statement I am printing my roll number is my object dot roll number. So in this attribute we are assigning value as 5. Our output may be my roll number is 5. So this is what basic example of our constructor. So can we do with our editor? Yes. So this is what my editor. I am setting the path already. So I have to work my execution of my program. That is, I am already typing in it. That is student. So this is what our program. So class student. So the file could be saved as your class name student. So Java C student.java. So this is what our compilation. Yes, so we don't have any error. Then we'll move our execution step Java student. So this is our output. My roll number is 5. So with the help of your constructor, we are initializing the class data members, right? So while we are creating the object, so our constructor is initializing 5 to the data member, right? So this is what our basics of constructor. So then we'll see about types of the constructor. So Java allows two types of the constructor, that is default constructor and parameterized constructor. So default constructor means this constructor doesn't accept any argument. So it is otherwise called as no argument constructor. So default constructor does not accept any parameters. That means your constructor parenthesis is a empty parenthesis. Say for example, I am having student as a constructor. So in this parenthesis we doesn't have any value to receive. So this is called no argument constructor. So this instance variables of method will be initialized with fixed values for all the object. So while we are creating the object, the fixed value could be assigned for data member of the class for all the object. So this is what the usage of default constructor. So next, let me say the example of default constructor. So this is our program. The number, it is a class. In this class, I am having a data member of num. So this is what our constructor creation. So in this constructor creators, our parenthesis is empty. That means no argument constructor. So in this constructor, I am assigning 100 to num variable, right? So in this main function, we are creating two objects, n1 and n2. So while creating the object, our constructor will automatically called and assign the value. So num equal to 100. For both two object creation, we are assigning the fixed value, that is 100. So our output will be num n1 dot num is 100 and n2 dot num is 100. Because we are using the default constructor, so the value will be same for all the object. Yes, so let me check with our editor. So this is what our program, I am already typed in the editor. So yes, let we execute this. Java C, our file name is number.java. So this is our compilation step. Yes, this file also does not has any errors. So now the time to execute the file. Number. Yes, so we'll receive the answer as 100. So this 100 for n1 and this 100 for n2. So while we are creating the object or any number of object, that object has a fixed value. So that is the purpose of default constructor, otherwise known as no argument constructor. The next type will be parameterized constructor. So the name itself, it implies that your constructor will accept one or more parameters. That is called parameterized constructor. So in this method, we can able to assign so many distinct value to the object. So this is what our parameterized constructor. So this could be created by as usual our normal method creation. Say for example, I am creating student. So within the parenthesis, I have to give my argument, that is int x comma int y. This is called our parameterized constructor. So this is what syntax of parameterized constructor. Within the body of constructor, I can able to assign the value of data members. So maybe my data member is a. So x could be assigned to a, and another data member is b, that could be assigned by y. So a equal to x, b equal to y. So this is what our parameterized constructor. So next we'll check with our program. So here the program name is number one. So number one, having a data member of num, I'm having the parameterized constructor that will accept only one value as int I, right? So I'm creating as usual two object n1 n2. So while creating n1, I am sending 10 as a value. Creating n2, I am sending value of 20. So what will happen means, while creating n1, your number will be assigned to 10. After creating n2, your number will be assigned to 20. So on the whole, n1 dot num has an answer of 10 and n2 dot num has an answer of 20. So this is what the usage of your parameterized constructor. So there is no restriction of having number of elements in constructor. We can use n number of element to accept the parameter, right? So can we check with our editor, right? So I'm already creating the program, that is number one. So this is document number one program. So Java C number one dot Java. Yes. So I'm using the name as number one for this program. You can use of your choice. Java number one. Yes, so here we see 10, 20. So the previous example has a value of 100 for two object, but by using parameterized constructor, we are having distinct value 10 and 20, right? So this is what about our constructor. On the whole, our constructor is used to initialize the object members, right? So we have a two types of constructor: default constructor and parameterized constructor. The next concept will be more uh, major basic concept, that is constructor overloading. So overloading in the sense we can able to do the work so many times with different signature, that is called overloading. So constructor overloading means we are having more than one constructor with different parameter list, so that is called constructor overloading. So they are arranged in a way that each constructor perform the different task. So they are differentiated by the compiler by the number of parameters in the list and their types. So these two major factors are in order to differentiate our constructors, right? So constructor overloading, we can use more number of constructor to do different number of jobs. Say for example, here we are having the program. So in this program we are having two constructor. So student 1, student 1. So what is the difference means, we are having the number of parameters. That is the most noted difference. That is, here I am having the two integers or two datas that will accept our values. In this constructor I am having three datas, that is int I, string n, int a. So on the whole, what is the purpose of this program means, I have to display the details of the students, right? So what is the data means, id, name and age. So this is a basic data member of my class. So this is what our object creation, student 1 s1. So I am creating the object s1 with the value of two parameters only, that is two data only, triple one and akil. So this will be assigned for your id and name. So it will be chosen according to your number of parameters. So this will choose this constructor. So id will be replaced as triple one and name will be replaced as akil. So this is what our s1. What about our S2? So S2 will be created by three parameters, right? So this object will choose this constructor, this three parameterized constructor. So triple two, RSO and 25. So this will be replaced as ID, name, age. So this is what our functionality of constructor overloading. So we are having the same constructor name, but we have two constructor with two different process. So this is what constructor overloading. Yes. So let me check with our editor. I'm having the file name the student one, right? So Java C student one dot Java. Yes. Yes. So we have to execute our constructor overloading program student 1. Yes, so we are received the answer as first student data and second student data. So what do you mean by this zero? Any guesses? So this zero will be a default value because we are sending only two value, right? So for our third value it will be assigned as zero. So this is what our constructor overloading concept. Yes. So on the whole, in this class, we are discussing our Java constructors. So constructor is used to initialize the object value. So while we are creating the object, we have to initialize our data member. For that purpose, we are using constructors, right? So yes, having this note, we will end the class. We will see you in next class. Thank you. Bye.